विदिताखिलशास्त्रसुधा जलधे महितोपनिषत्कथितार्थनिधे विदिताखिलशास्त्रसुधा जलधे महितोपनिषत्कथितार्थनिधे हृदये मलं चरणं भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणं हृदये कलये विमलं चरणं भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणं करुणावरुणालय पालय मां भवसागरदुःखविदूनहृदम् लय मां भवसागरदुःखविदूनहृदं रचयाखिलदर्शनतत्त्वविदं भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम् See, so many things you can do with this, yeah. Yeah, this can be a little louder, I think. Little bit. Huh? That's why I didn't teach this. Yeah. Because having learned that this is easy. Anything is easy after you learn the other one. Vidita khila shastra sudha jaladhe Mahitopanishad kathitarthanidhe हृदये कलये विमलं चरणं भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणं भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम् करुणावरुणालय पालय माम् भवसागरदुःखविदूनहृदम् रचयाखिलदर्शनतत्त्वविदम् भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम् भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम् Come on, we can do this together, okay? Bhavata janata sukhita bhavita Nijabodha vicharana charumate Kalayeshwara jiva viveka vidam Bhavashankara deshikame sharanam Bhavashankara deshikame sharanam Bhava eva bhavaniti me nitaram समजायत के भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणं भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणं दुकृते बहुधा भवतो भविता समदर्शनलालसता अतिदीनमिमं परिपालय मां भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणं भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणं जगतीमवितुं विचर अहि विभा भव शरणं me sharanam. Pungava Pungava la 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 Bhava Shankara Deshika me sharanam Bhava Shankara Deshika me sharanam Viditanamaya Vishadaikakala न च किञ्चन काञ्चनमस्ति गुरो धृतमेव विधेहि कृपां सहजां भव शङ्कर देशिक मे शरणं भव शङ्कर देशिक मे शरणं. Yeah, see how nicely you're learning it. Wonderful. Next one. Karuna Varunalaya Palaya Mam. This one is little easier, you know. Oh, the first one we have not done we haven't done the first line. Yes, second line only took so long. Yeah, never mind. Go back to the first one. I must have done it in a dream. So, so I thought, oh, we are doing very well in terms of time, how quickly this is moving. But so much for fanciful thoughts. So he addresses him in two other ways. Vidita Akhila Shastra Sudha Jaladhi. And the vocative of that is Jaladhe, like Harihi Hare. Correct? Yeah. So when you want to call Hari, you say Hare. So like this, you know, like Guru, like that, vocative. So Jaladhi becomes Jaladhe because the person called Jaladhi is being addressed. Jaladhi is a body of water, river, ocean, anything, you know. And here Vidita, Vidita means that which is all known. Vidita, then what? Akhila, total. Shastra, Shastra means what? All the compendium of all the holy works in the tradition, Shastra, anything that is worth knowing, teaching, etc. Vidita Akhila Shastra Sudha. Sudha means what? The nectar. So the oceanic nectar of all the Shastras. Think about it. Yeah. Oceanic nectar is better than saying nectarine ocean because then nectarine is also the name of a fruit. Yeah, it's some kind of a cross between plum and peach. Yeah. So therefore, we don't say nectarine ocean, although that's really the meaning here, but it's an oceanic nectar. Sudha usually means nectar, and nectar, a nectar ocean of what? Shastra. And that, you know, that is what is, what's his name? Adi Shankara is being saluted as. Akhila Shastra Sudha Jaladhihi. So, all the Shastras, if you puree them, they become an ocean. That is the embodiment of Adi Shankara. If all the Shastras were liquefied, they would resemble a milky ocean. Sudha is always the color. The Amritam, Amritam here means immortality. Nectar is always of immortality. You don't have nectar of mortality. Yeah. So the nectar, and this nectar is always depicted as a milky ocean. Kshira Sagara, milky ocean. Milk is the color of, white is the color of what? Sattva Guna. So this knowledge is all Sattva Guna Pradhana, and also internally one has to be Sattva Guna-esque in order to imbibe the knowledge. And so therefore, this Shastra Sudha, the milky ocean of immortality, the milky ocean of all the teachings, is Adi Shankara is hailed as that. You know, Akhila Shastra Sudha. Khila means that which has a residue. Akhilam No residue means all the total compendium of all the holy scriptures, holy books, everything that is remotely even there to be studied. He is the master of that. And in calling him this, Totaka is saying some wonderful things, really, really wonderful things. So let us look at that. That's not a very easy compound. So Akhila Shastra Sudha Jaladhi. We'll come first. We'll take it part by part. First, Jaladhi, body of water, which is nothing other than the Shastra. So Shastra Jaladhi, and the Shastra's purport is what? What is the Shastra trying to teach? Moksha. Moksha. No, but the first part of the Veda is not teaching moksha. No, but it is preparing you for moksha. It's telling you how to do everything correctly and how to rein in the desires. And then whenever you have a desire, you break into yajna. That's all you do. Yeah. You do a homa instead of trying to go shopping. So this is the ancient retail therapy. Sit at home and do homa. Yeah, you don't go to the mall and all these things. When the desire strikes, you go into prayer. This is what it teaches. It teaches discipline. It teaches the ashramas, various stages in life. What the correct activity for each stage of life is, and how to lead that. It teaches discipline. Udite juhoti. There are times for homa. You can't do it at midnight unless you're a tantric. Yeah, if you're a regular person, you have to do it at sunrise. Agnihotra is done at sunrise. No, but that's too early. Well, anudite juhoti. Before sunrise. Only two options are given. Yeah. So you have a disciplined life, because based on the ashrama stage in life, there are certain responsibility. First one is a consumer. All the balyavastha, childhood, and then the brahmacharyavastha, the student. You rely on other people. When you're a student, you are looking for handouts, whether they are cliff notes or food. Both are handouts. Yeah. And so you're looking for things and people to help. Even if you take a loan, it's a form of help. So you are a consumer. You're consuming. Then the day you get married, you give back. You start giving back. You become a grihastha. Grihastha means it doesn't exactly mean householder. We have given that translation. Grihe tishtati iti grihastha. The one who is at home. Usually what happens, they have a house all right, but the householder is out of the house. House is locked up all day, all life. Because people are busy going here and there. But grihastha means the one who remains at home and then does dana to everyone. You have to give. You have bhuta yajna. You have to give to the pitrus. You have to do annadanam regularly. And in fact, in the ancient times, you had to look to the left, look to the right, call out 3 times. Is there anybody waiting to eat? And anybody who came, whether it was riffraff off the street or the king himself, their feet had to be washed, and you ceremonially made them sit and eat, and you ate whatever was left. You could not eat unless you had fed somebody else. This is what is called atithi yajna. So all this, after you do all these things, nobody in ancient India had insomnia, because you would just drop off to sleep. Finished. Because you're waking up at 3:30 in the morning every single day of your life. So obviously no insomnia, no, because you're leading a life that is disciplined and you're doing what you're supposed to do. There is no conflict. And no problems. And so they lived a life that was very close to gaining the preparations for the knowledge to enter the second portion of the Veda, which was called Vedanta. Yeah, or Upanishad. And that's why he addresses both. First he says, Akhila Shastra Sudha, you are the oceanic, nectarine ocean. Now that I have told you what I'm trying to say, you understand. You are the nectarine ocean of all the Shastras. He is praising the teacher. And you are the storehouse of everything. And the Shastra is geared towards moksha. That's what it is. Even the first portion is moksha. Because whenever you do a sankalpa, sankalpa, when you put the hand and you state the intent in front of Bhagavan, why you're doing a particular prayer, why you're doing a particular homa. And even if you say, I want lots of money, the Purohit in India is going to make you say something else first. Money will come later. First, what do you say? Mamopatta, samasta, duritakshayadvara. So, mama means by me, mine, upatta, earned, samasta duritakshayadvara. Let all the papas and all the impurities leave. See, Shri Parameshwara Prityartham, or if it's a goddess, Parameshwari Prityartham, Ahamidam Karishye, I am doing this to gain the grace of the Lord or the goddess, which will nullify all my bad karma. And why to, nullify the bad karma? So that I can go towards this knowledge. What stops one from being interested in the teaching is one's own karma, one's own karmic burdens. Makes the ahankara rise its hood and, say what? Oh, this is not necessary. You were fine till you came to Vedanta. In fact, after Vedanta, your life has become difficult. So what? Stop studying. This is how people wrongly go away. They get into a fight with a teacher, they get into fight with other students, and they say, I don't like the paint in the classroom, and and this is so many things. Yeah, I don't like how the chairs are, I don't like the color of the paint, and people go. And so this way, here, the Shastra is all, mokshabhimukham shastram. It's all for the sake of moksha. So the first one is the preparation and the second one is the teaching, because, even if you apply to college, various graduate schools and everything, you have to have some prerequisites, right? So in order to apply for PhD program, you need some prerequisites. What are they? You have to have at least a master's or even a bachelor's degree. You have to have a bachelor's degree minimum. You can't just say that, I just love Einstein and I just read about him in 4th grade and now I want to do, PhD in particle physics. Yeah, not possible. So you may have loved this subject matter, but you have to be able to do the needful in order to qualify for the graduate school. Then again, there are certain entrance exams. Like in India, we have entrance exam for medicine, engineering, all these, professional things. What is that? Business management, all this. And then, and here we have what? GMAT, GRE, all these things are there. You have to clear that. Then you become ready for this, teaching. But here, nonetheless, whether it's preparation, which is the first portion of the Veda, or the knowledge itself, which is the second portion, both of them together is called Shastra Sudha. Sudha means immortality, because in moksha means immortality. The problem with us is we look for immortality on the physical plane. So signs of immortality are not found in the mirror. In fact, the opposite. You look in the mirror and every day one more wrinkle, one more something, and everything is sagging downwards, yeah. The face hits the floor, even without bending. And so this is what the gravitational force is not a small thing, yeah. So if you are born 5 feet 5 inches, and if you live to a ripe old age, you become 5'3.5". Really. Everything shrinks. And because the gravitational force is the great aging agent. Yeah, that's what it is. It's pulling everything down. That's why people say that if they spend 1 year in space, they are younger. The astronauts come back and they boast. that we haven't aged at all because we have spent 1 year in zero gravity, like this. And then if they find out a way to go back in time or go ahead of time, either way, then also the one is not susceptible to gravitational force. Until then, one is what? Susceptible to gravity. So you look in the mirror, you don't see any signs of immortality, even though you have been studying Vedanta regularly. Where is the Sudha? No Sudha in the mirror. Then again, you just say, oh, you see some young things going for a jog with things in the plugs in the ears, You say, oh, I think I can do that. And you sprint out of the front gate. And then what? And you just trip right there, correct? That was your trip, literally and figuratively, because all the bones protest. At the level of the bones say, I am not immortal. And the bones declare, Martyoham, I am a mortal. In whether they are mortal or not, they are certainly mortified that you are treating them this way. And similarly, you can't waltz into some kind of a party and eat everything that is there. No, you have to pick and choose. This one talks back. Its name is cucumber, so better avoid. This one belongs to the, what is that, cruciferous family. Avoid. This one is, of course, nightshade. Bye-bye. Everything. You can't eat anything, except one zucchini. That every Vaidya allows. One zucchini you can have, with your khichdi. And other than that, everything you cannot avoid. Yeah, you go to any doctor, especially these, herbal healers, Ayurvedic doctors, everyone, and they will put you on a diet. Correct? Half the things you cannot eat. Why? Because your Jataragni is protesting. It's not able to digest. No, but I could do that when I was 18. You are not. Still the numbers 8 and 1 are there. Yes, but they are transposed. You are 81 now. So you cannot behave like a spring chicken. That you cannot do that. So therefore, the signs of mortality abound. They are everywhere. Where is the immortality? In fact, even to see, I need some upanetram. Yeah, netram and Upanetram. Upanetram means that which remains close to the netram. That's all it is. Upasamipe. So, even to see, I need the glasses. Even to understand the word immortality, I need to, I have to remember, where was that? Where did I hear that? Oh, right. Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, like this. So, where is the immortality? It is certainly not in the body. It's not to be looked for at the level of the physical body. That is very abundantly clear. And don't even bother looking for the immortality in the mind, because as soon as you start doing that, you will forget what you were looking for. This is what happens, The mind is such that the only thing that can be said about the mind is never mind. That's all you can say. Nothing else. So it's not, the immortality is not on the level of the body. It's not, connected to the mind. Then where is the immortality? Where the complaint is coming from, there alone is the immortality. Because is the body complaining, Martyoham, I am mortal? Did it complain? No. Body is not complaining, bones are not complaining, they are not complaining. Who is complaining? I am complaining, yeah. Centered on the I is alone the immortality. The I never, comes to an end. The I always is, and the I is the source of everything, and that I alone is the first letter of the word Ishvara. I for Ishvara. That I alone is Ishvara. That which is the source of everything, that conscious being. I am a conscious being, right? Yeah, and why it is taking so long? Yeah. Are you a conscious being? Yes, because see, sometimes I have to be careful. If I give the example, I am a conscious being, they will say, you may be a conscious being, not me, especially after the delicious lunch. I am more in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, you know. So, are you a conscious being? Yes. How do you know? Because I'm conscious of myself. Everything, becomes evident to me. That's how I know I'm a conscious being. And so this conscious being, has confused itself with the body, mind, sense complex, has identified with everything time bound, starting with the body, the mind, the senses, starting with the house. First it's my house, then it is me house. Yeah. If you criticize the house, you're criticizing me. That's why, so many times when I go for a walk, I hear people talking. Somebody will comment, nice dog. Dog doesn't say thank you, thank you. Who says thank you? Owner. I'm not praising the owner. I'm saying nice dog. And same thing, nice t-shirt. Oh, thank you. I praise the t-shirt. But the owner takes the credit. That is the identification. So all the wrong identifications are closer than the t-shirt. In fact, they become the very skin in which you live. That's what it is, exactly. So going back to the other, example. So therefore, this knowledge is always elusive because I'm looking for the immortality in the wrong place. Wrong place. And so therefore, he is hailing the teacher as the veritable immortality that the student wants to be, wants to see, wants to understand, wants to assimilate. So, Akhila Shastra, and it's not a small thing because Adi Shankara was so well versed in everything. He made the whole first portion of the Vedas streamlined. He started this Panchayatana Puja, easy way to relate to everything. And he taught that to the people. Established a lot of temples. He knew Agama Shastra, how the temple should be established, what all should be done. And he wrote a lot of treatises on so many different things. He knew the whole Shastra. Whole Shastra means everything. First you have the Veda, then you have the Angas, 6 Angas. What are they? Shiksha, Kalpam, Vyakaranam, Jyotisham, Chandas. And Shiksha, Kalpam, Vyakaranam, Jyotisham, Chandas. One more is there. No, that is Upaveda. Vedanga, 6 things. Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakaranam, Chandas, Jyotisham. Yeah. Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakarana, Chandas, Jyotisham. One more is there. It'll come. But anyhow, there are 6 Angas, parts of the Veda. Because when you study the Veda, you also study Chandas, meter. Then you study Kalpa, the know-how of how the rituals should be done. You can't just, I saw somewhere they were trying to do a fire ritual. And then they did the fire ritual and somebody said, where shall I throw the garbage? And they pointed to the fire and they threw all the garbage there. You don't do that because you have already invoked Bhagavan there. So all this, the Chandas, the Kalpa teaches. And then, we have Jyotisha, which is like a cross between astrology and astronomy. Horary astrology, when is a good time to do things, Tithi, Muhurtam, all these things. And then, all these are called the Angas. Then we have Upavedas. All the Upavedas are there, and in that Dhanur Vidya, Ayurveda, Yoga Shastra, all these things come. Shastra Vidya, all these Upavedas. And then we have, that constitutes what is called Shruti, the primary teaching. Then we have Smriti. Smriti means, based on memory, whatever is reiterated by the sages. Like all the Sutrakaras, Apastamba Sutra. Then Sutra means the Dharma Shastras came up with their own small ways of how the regular people should lead their lives. Some kind of moral codes for the society. And so Apastamba Sutra and Jaimini Sutra, like this, there are 4 sutras. Gautama Sutra, like that, there are 4 sages who, and all over India, they follow that. That is part of the Smriti. And then what else? And Smriti also is our other granthas, how to do this particular puja, how to do this, iterated in a simple way, not in the Vedic way, which is difficult to follow. So then we have Puranas. Puranas, 18 of them, all attributed to Vyasa. Amazing. I mean, each Purana never comes to an end. Huge. Attributed to Vyasa. And a Western academic said, it must not have been the same Vyasa. There must be other people with the same name. Funny people. But it is all attributed to Vyasa, one Vyasa. And then, so, Shruti, Smriti, Purana, and then we have something called Itihasa. Itihasa. Indeed, this is how it was, like a mytho-historical accounts. So there is a historicity, but that history has got a lot of mythology based on Shraddha of the person writing. So in that, Ramayana comes, correct? No. How do you say it? Huh? Ramayana. Ramayanam. Yeah. Say it? Yeah, that's okay. That's very good. And then Mahabharata. Some people say that. Mahabharata. How do you say? Mahabharata. So, Ramayana and Mahabharata are examples of Itihasa. There is some historical things, You get down at Mathura railway station and you will be mobbed. They will all say that Krishna was born in the basement of my house and I have kept the basement alive. You please come and see. They will not leave you. And I have gone to many such birthplaces of Lord Krishna. And especially if they see you in orange, finished, you're gone. They have to take you there. And they will, it'll be some kind of a dungeon, because we hear that he was born in captivity. His parents were imprisoned, and so he was born in captivity. So 2-3 places have gone, they were identical. So there was a flat kind of a stone bed, actually made of concrete, very ancient concrete. And then a chain, and they will show the chain, and they will say this was the original chain, and they'll have rusted up the chain a little bit because it's very ancient, comes straight from the Iron Age. And then this chain was on the right leg of Devaki as she labored to give birth to the Lord. And here is where he was born, and this is the basket in which the father took him in, like that, they will have. So some of it is, of course, it may be, we don't know, plastic basket. So maybe, very well could be. But we still have places. Of the Bhagavad Gita, we have Kurukshetra. It's a place, we know that. It's not this. It's not like the Lord Krishna's birthplace, myth. That's why it's like mythological and historical accounts. Kurukshetra, Panchavati, all these things are there. Yeah, Sri Lanka is there. Although if you go to Sri Lanka, there is a different version of the Ramayana, Yeah, very different version going on. I was shocked. They said that Ravana and Sita were in love, and the stupid Rama came in between. Yeah, so they have Ravana, Sita, one, what is that called? Swing. Yeah, which is called Ravana Sita. Ravana Sita bridge, Ravana Sita park, garden. So it's all Ravana Sita. And then you can't reason with them because they have their own itihasa going on. Yeah. So if you tell, for example, if you argue with them, which I tried, I don't recommend it. So if you try to argue with them and show them reason, I tried to be reasonable. I thought I was being reasonable, and I said, why did he come and have to abduct her if she really was willing to go with him? No, that they had to do a charade because she was forcibly married off to Rama. So she had to, because otherwise a woman's honor would be in question if she ran away with someone. So they had to do an elaborate charade of her being abducted. Okay, fine. Then, if she was really willing to be, they had to do the abduction, they had to stage the abduction for the sake of the people, you say, correct. All right. Then, why did she put her, chuda, her head ornament she dropped, her ring she dropped her, necklace and her anklet. She made a trail so that Rama would find it. Why did she do that? Because if she didn't want to be found, and if she was a willing conspirator, she should have said, okay, we have staged the thing. Now, we are in this nice airplane called Pushpaka. Let us go. She should have just disappeared. Why did she leave a trail of ornaments? And they looked at me with great pity. They said, you don't even know that much. In the plane, in this open air plane, Ramana said to her, Priye, loved one, why are you wearing another person's ornaments? I will buy you 100 different kinds of, diamond necklaces. Here you are just wearing a few village ornaments. Take them off. You love me, throw all those things. And that's why she threw. Don't you know that? And I said, when is my train to go back? So, you see, so Sri Lanka, all this is there. And Sri Lanka, if you go on the outskirts of, where was it? On the outskirts of Colombo, there is one hill. There is one small hillock. And that is where, Sanjeevani hillock. It is there. It's named also like that. Yeah. So, Hanumanji was not a very good herbalist because he was sent into the mountains to, to find a shiny plant, and he saw everything as shiny. He could not make out. And being the Vanara he said, well, let's just bring the whole mountain. And so he brought the mountain and kept it there, and that is still there. It's called Sanjeevani Hill. So like this, we have, these are all itihasas. So Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Itihasa. This is the compendium of the what is called Shastra. Why is it called Shastra? Shasanat Trayate iti Shastram. Tra for Trayate. We have a lot of acronyms like that. It's the ancient version of OMG. What is OMG? Why is taking so long? I'm talking the modern language. This is not Sanskrit. What is OMG? LOL. That like that. So this is a way of shortening the things in the ancient times. And so like Gacchati iti gaha. Goes. You don't have to say goes. You just say G for goes. Gacchati iti gaha. Khe gacchati iti khagaha. Goes in space. What? Bird. Yeah. You can also say, curiosity. That you will be right, because curiosity is the name of the Marsiana. Yes. So like this, you can have these short forms. And so like this, trayate iti traha. So that which protects. Trayate, nobody has the time to say. So you make it what? Tra. And then you attach other things there. Shas, tra. And then mananat trayate iti mantra. Yeah, like that. Like that. So you can have all kinds of, you can make new words using this Upapada Tatpurusha type, words, word endings. So this is for the economy of words, this is given. Trayate iti traha. So Shasanat means through the injunctions and through the teachings, that which protects. The first portion of the Veda protects through injunctions. Don't do this, do this. Please do this at this time, not at that time. Please do this in this manner, not in any other manner. And the second portion of the Veda protects through teaching. Protects that I, which otherwise goes, or I. Yeah. So therefore, both of them together are called Shastram. And so, Akhila Shastra Jaladhi, a body of water, of all the Shastras. But what kind of water? Nectar-like water. That, and nectar is always has got an abiding presence in the in the uh, in the Vedanta and poetic lore. But it's not a very good, example. But even though it's used, and so now we have come to, terms with it. Whenever an example is deployed, it should be like something one has experienced, correct? Who has experienced nectar? We don't even know what it looks like, what it is like. Like, somebody gives a chocolate cake and says, "This is for you." So then you eat the chocolate cake, and then the other person says, "How was it?" "Oh, it's like heaven." Have you gone to heaven? No. But the chocolate cake, you say what? Heaven. It's just like heaven. So but heaven has become an accepted example, even though, this fellow hasn't gone there and is not fit to go there either. So, but still, it is an accepted example, correct? Same thing with nectar. In the Shastra, it's an accepted example to liken something that you really want and you really want to praise as nectar. Nectar is sweet, nectar is immortal, nectar is forever. So Shastra also, and nectar is for your own benefit. So Shastra is Sukhatama, it is for your hitam, it is for your own benefit. And what else is it? It is sweet, it is life-giving, it is immortal. And so the teacher here is hailed as the nectar of all the compendium of the holy books. Shastra Sudha Jaladhi. But then that could also be any Pandit from India. You get somebody from India, from the heart of somewhere in Tamil Nadu, and they can rattle off Ramayana, they can rattle off Mahabharata, they can rattle off all the first portion of the Vedas, and they can rattle off the Paninian, Ashtadhyayi, Riddhiraja, Chadengunaha, everything. But you sit down and ask them, "What did you just say? What does that mean?" They will say, "I don't know. I was just told to repeat, so I know how to repeat." So that person also is Akhila Shastra Sudha Jaladhi, but what? Avidita. Not known. Vidita means known. But here Adi Shankara is being praised as Vidita Akhila Shastra Sudha Jaladhi, the one who is not only is the incarnation, the walking, talking incarnation of the nectarine-like Shastra, the whole oceanic Shastra he embodies, but a known Shastra, not just a repeated Shastra, whose meaning he knew. And that is what is being talked about here. And then Mahita Upanishad Katitha Artha Nidhi. That Nidhe again, vocative. Mahita means Mahat. Mahati Upanishad. So here it is Mahita. Mahat means great. So the great Upanishad, why are the Upanishads called great? Because they grate on your nerves? No, they better not. And so why are the Upanishads called great? Because they make the person great. The one who studies wants to be great and then studies the Upanishad and then becomes great, discovers their own greatness. So that is the reason the Upanishad is called Mahita Upanishad. And the other reason Upanishad is great is because studying which you don't need anything, there is nothing greater. So the greatest is the Upanishad. Mahita Upanishad and Artha. Artha means the meaning, not just repeating. Brahmavida apnoti param tadesha abhyukta satyam jnanam anantam brahma yo veda nihitam guhagyam parame vyoman. This is not, And then what did you just say? I don't know. I just learnt it from my grandfather. That is well and good, but you have to understand the meaning. Kathitha means the said, the proper meaning. Kathitha means that meaning which was orally communicated by his teacher, her teacher, his teacher, her teacher, all the way to Parameshwara, and and coming down from that, Kathita Artha Nidhi. Yes, Nidhi is a treasury, a storehouse. What kind of a storehouse? A protected storehouse. Because it's not just this knowledge is always called rahasya, secret. Secret, sacred, both. Secret, why? Why secret? Even exactly, Shrutvapi Naveda Kashchit. That's why it is secret from yourself, because even after being told, you don't understand that's the biggest secret, Yeah. This is the biggest secret. It's right there. The Atma is right there. Still I'm looking for it. Bhagavan is sitting in the heart, but I'm going to Badrinath. And this is what the whole thing is. Badrinath means trekking. Kedarnath means donkey ride. So, this this is what it is. And the donkeys, this is again a digression, but the donkeys, they one side faces this precipitous cliff, which is just, a death sentence, even if you look there. And the other side is the wall. So the donkey is very afraid to look this side, naturally. So the donkey only looks this side, and you go, and then you are sitting on top of this donkey. Don't ask me if I have gone. I have not. But this is the accounts of all the travelers, the collected samashti accounts of all the travelers who have come to give me prasad and told me what it was like. Then they say, "Oh, shall we make you also go?" I'll say, "Thanks for the offer. Let me search for Lord Shiva right here. Let me enjoy him in my own heart." Yeah. Or I say, "My time has not yet come." Which is a very diplomatic answer. What time? Let them decide what time it is, what time I'm trying to say. So like this, So this is the crazy thing, because Kathita Artha, if that Artha is not understood, I may be the compendium of the Upanishads, but even though it's staring at me in the face, the eye is staring at me in the face, in fact, I'm never away from myself, still I say I'm disconnected, I'm alienated, kaha ho, darshana do ghanashyam, this is my cry. Where are you, Lord Krishna? You're not showing yourself to me. And Lord Krishna, is tired, Yeah, he says, what is wrong with them whole day? I'm right there, and they are saying. And Rukmini and Satyabhama have to calm him down, consorts. They have to say, this is how they are. We told you, don't look for logic and human beings. They don't go together. This is how it is. So, this is the problem. So, Kathita Artha means the assimilated meaning of the Upanishads. Upani is the prefix, Shad is the root. Shad means that which destroys. Destroys what? Nishchayena definitely destroys what? Samsara. Anartha vratan visharati. Shithili karoti. That which, freezes and completely uproots all the things I don't want, all the things that I'm sick of, all the things that are mortal. And then Brahma gamayati, avasadayati, destroys my perception that I am a limited mortal being. By what? Gamayati, taking me towards the truth of the self, which is Brahman. By identifying me, introducing me to Brahman as myself, all the smallness, the finitude is completely gone, finished, poof, no more. And so that kind of artha means in whom that is settled. That is what it is. Settled. That meaning is well assimilated and settled. Mahitopanishad kathitartha nidhi. You are a storehouse. Because when people meet you on the road, they don't know you are a storehouse. It's all hidden. And Adi Shankara was not showing off. I'm a master of the Upanishads. Come and fall at my feet. He was not like that. He was just going in the villages, in the forests by himself. And maybe a few knew of his greatness. And he was not the one to advertise. So this knowledge doesn't advertise itself. That's why it is rahasya. Even if it is right there, you don't see it. That's why it is rahasya. Rahasya here means nidhi, storehouse, hidden storehouse. Because you don't say, I have a safe in my house in the third room behind the picture, of Swamiji. You don't say that. Yeah. You don't advertise. Nidhi means it is all kept covered. It is a rahasya. And the third reason it is a rahasya is because it should not be given to those that are not prepared for the knowledge. Nadeyam, Kathopanishad says, Mundakopanishad says, all the Upanishads at the end say, don't give this to somebody who's not ready. I mean, think about it, even logically. You tell a serial killer sitting in the jail, you are akarta, you did not do anything. He will say, great, I did do it. I was also telling you first, I didn't do anything. So therefore, it is nidhi. And nidhi means a storehouse, means that it should be many things, correct? All kinds of gems and all. And so here we can take all the prakriyas, all the pedagogical ways of communicating this knowledge. Karya karana prakriya, avasthatraya prakriya, cause-effect pedagogy. If effect is non-separate from cause is not the effect. Effect is cause is not effect. Cause-effect prakriya. Avasthatraya prakriya, sleeper, waker, dreamer. They are all the same experience shared by that non-dual consciousness which morphs as the sleeper, as the waker, as the dreamer, which is neither the sleeper nor the waker nor the dreamer. Another prakriya. Then, what is that other one? The law of the prakriya of invariable concomitance. If A is there, B is there. But if, B is not there, A is also not there. Like this. All these prakriyas are there, the pedagogies. So that constitute the nidhi. Or if the nidhi is just one thing, like Kohinoor diamond, they're not going to keep it right there. It'll be in a box, then it'll be in another box. Especially now that India has started to ask about it. They will have put it in one more box, then one more safe, then one more safe, then one more safe, then around, and then something that goes ring, 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 and then those red lines, that are invisible. You need a special torch, and you need a cat suit to go in between the lines. Correct? So all those mechanisms, they, all for what? Just one diamond. One diamond. In fact, that diamond is full of bad luck, really. Because whenever it has come, some terrible things have happened to whoever had it. So, no need for India to ask for it back. That's my feeling. But, I'm not in charge. So, so this is the thing. So that one diamond is kept in so much, whatever. It's part of the crown, but the whole crown will be kept in such a secure way. And that is why it is nidhi, because this knowledge is protected. And it is, and he is the treasury. He presides over the treasury of the well assimilated words of the Upanishad. And in so doing, he is the greatest teacher of the Upanishad. So very beautiful first verse. Very, very nice. Have we covered it now? Very nice. We'll just see the meaning of the second one. And when we come back tomorrow, I will talk about it. Karuna means mercy/compassion. Varuna means rain. Varuna means many things, clouds, so many things. But here it means, we have to take it contextually, here it means a rain of compassion. Pun intended. Rain of compassion. And what kind of a rain? A kind of a storehouse, alaya. So a rain harvested, compassion rain that has been harvested and kept. Perfect for Eugene, eco metaphor. Metaphor is very ecological. So the rain harvested compassion. So compassion has been harvested in the form of rains that is keeping on, raining. So the storehouse of compassion. Palayamam, Please protect me. And who is this me? What kind of a me? Bhavasagara viduna hridam. Viduna hrit. Viduna hrit means whose heart is viduna, do. Two verbs are there. Do and do. Both means the same thing, fortunately. And both mean pain, sorrow, afflictions. Tapa, santapa, affliction, heat of affliction. What kind of affliction? Not a backache, not a leg ache. Bhava sagara dukkha. Oceanic sorrow of the life of becoming. Samsara is the life of becoming. Whatever I am, I'm not happy. Whatever what do I want? I want to become something other than what I am. So this becoming, very unbecoming. And this is what it is. So bhavasagara dukkha viduna, pricked by, assailed by, afflicted by. The one whose heart is afflicted by the oceanic sorrow of samsara, that is me, Mam, that kind of me. Palaya, protect. Who? Oh, you storehouse of mercy and compassion. And then what? Rachaya. Rachaya is make. Rachaya Mam, make me. Make me into what? Akhila darshana tattva vidam, make me into a tattvavit like yourself, the one who knows the truth of the I, the one who knows the truth of the Shastra, and the one who knows all the darshanas. And who has not just knows the darshanas, this I'll be talking about tomorrow, the one who is able to, do khandanam of all the other oppositional, contentions, all the dualistic contentions, the one who is able to dispose of, because the one who is so much firmly assimilated in Vedanta, you who are already like that, you are a Akhila Darshana Tattvavit, and you need to make me into someone just like you. Rachaya Mam, Akhila Darshana Tattvavidam, Rachaya, make me into this form. I am the stone-hearted fellow, come to you, and you with the chisel of compassion, chisel away all that doesn't belong and make me into a sculpture of the Lord. So make me, I am waiting to become that which is no longer committed to a life of becoming. Bhavashankara, He Bhavashankara, He Deshika, Me Sharanam. So something to chew on. Tomorrow we will see in more detail. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Yeah. 9:30 tomorrow, right? Anything else today? No. Okay. Yes, see you tomorrow. Niruktam, thank you. Thank you, Krishnanand. Niruktam Chandasam Jyotishamiti. Yaskas Niruktam. As old as the Veda. Thank you. Yeah, Niruktam. Yeah.